completed projects as well. Okay. So the big news is that inline images, that has been rolled out to production. So this is giving the ability to, when people send in emails with inline images, those work within the forums, and the emails that are sent through notification, that works as well. So that's being done. The other big news is that the theme that we've been working on, that's been rolled to production. It's not been set as a default theme yet, but actually I can show you. So if we go to VLab, and I'm drafting an email today to send out to the community owners, and so if you can go within your community and change the theme. It's called VLCS New, and I've done that already. It's a really easy thing to do for a community owner. Actually, I can show you. Let me go to one of the other communities where I've already done this. So like, let's say we wanted to do it for the VLab improvement team. So if I come over here, and so this is our current theme, I can go into the admin and go to the pages, and then go into the so private pages at the top. Look and feel is here, so you can see our current theme is VLCS. We just select VLCS New and save that, and then we will see the pages using the new theme. And so anyway, that is that's been rolled out. Our intention there, or I'm sending an email today out to the owners so that they have an opportunity to switch their community or switch a page or two within their community, take a look, make sure that they don't see any issues, and then we're planning on rolling that out or making a switch so the default theme becomes this new theme the week of the 26th, so in 2 weeks. The big advantage, just as a reminder, with this new theme is that it supports 3 levels deep. And what do I mean by that? So if I come over to another community, which I've already switched over, so the VLab support team, right now from the menu bar, if you have 2 level deep, so if I come here, which one did I do that within? I think I did it. Sorry, I should remember. Maybe I got rid of it already. Oh, here we go. So with the other theme, you can only go to the 2nd level. So you can have the top level and then sub pages, but you can actually go 3 levels deep here. And it's smart enough that if this is on the far right side, now it'll shift that 3rd level to the left rather than the right. We're running into some problems where things are going off the page, but anyway, so that's there. So that's good news. That's moving forward. Let's see. I've been spending a lot of energy on upgrading Garrett, and Jason Burks, one of our senior developers, has been spending a lot of energy on getting Garrett single sign-on in place. We're experiencing a strange behavior in the IDP environment that we haven't been able to replicate on our local servers anywhere else. So that's thrown a monkey wrench into the timing, the amount of time I thought it'd take to do the upgrade, but I'm working through that. So anyway, that's taken a lot more of my time than I had anticipated. But so you can see we'll probably not actually be able to get to, and I'm in the process of pushing things back to our July release, because I'm off for the next, for just over a week next week, so I won't have to be around to do development then. But so the Garrett stuff is most likely going to be pushed out to July. I'm starting to work on the personal pages, and I actually had a question regarding that. And one of the first things that comes to mind is, do we want users to be able to customize their personal pages? I'm thinking perhaps not. That might complicate things for people, but I didn't want to just make that decision. So that's, if anyone has an opinion on that. And again, what do I mean by personal pages? So if you come up here, you can click on this, and you've got my profile. So that's a page that's dedicated to you, but it's public. So any VLab user can get to it, so they can see your information about yourself. If I had blogs, personal blogs, they would show up here as well. So that's the profile page. There's a under my account, you do have in here my subscriptions, and so that can be useful at times to understand what you're actually subscribed to. But the question becomes, there was a desire to have a private page too, which you could then use to go to, and it could list out your communities, and then also there were a few other things that I put within the ticket in terms of the default portlets that I thought would be useful. Your subscriptions might be something that people want to have, as well as, let me go to that ticket really quick. So personal pages. Okay. So my communities, my Red Mine issues, activities, and blogs. So I think that's part of the Brad McCune, I believe, from Hydro, I think was the person that initially requested this, and the big motivation, I think, on his part was having one place where you could go and check and see all the different activity that you've been involved with. And so that's available through the activities portlet, and so we would definitely put that there. So does anyone on the call have an opinion on whether or not customization of your page would be something that you think we really need?
My personal opinion is that if we, I think there should be some wiggle room with what you show, but at the same time, we need to maintain a level of consistency. So in general, my vote would probably lean more toward the no than the yes.
Yeah.
On wildly, because you don't want to go say to my page and I have one thing and your page has something completely different.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was my inclination as well. If you start allowing people to add portlets and things to the page, for some people that's going to be intuitive. For others, it's not going to be at all. So there might be a lot of questions when it comes to that. So I think what we'll do is we'll roll it out initially with a set layout, and then if we get a lot of people saying, hey, is it possible to have it customized, then we can revisit it at that point in time, and it would be a pretty straightforward change. So, okay, let me go back then. So that's taking place. The single sign-on is tied to Garrett, so that's going to be pushed out. The look and feel VLCS in the Garrett login, that's Jason's completed that, so that's part of the single sign-on too. But will be in production next month. And the improved look and feel, that has to do with the public-facing web pages, the theme, so that's the same issue. So that's, like I said, that we'll have done by the end of this month, or we'll fully implement by the end of this month. This is something more for our administration, deleting projects within Garrett. today we don't have a way of deleting them unless we go into the database and do things manually. So, but that's an administration thing, and that's tied to the upgrade of Garrett as well. So that's going to be pushed out. Going to the next release, again, one of the things that we've run into time and time again when people are logging into Garrett is that sometimes they'll use capitals or mixed case, sometimes they'll use all lowercase, and Garrett does not like that. You have to be consistent from the first login. We have a way of getting around that, so that's, again, tied to the newer version of Garrett. The CR, that's consolidated reference, or AIR, under supporting the underlying type of wiki, that work was done, but there was we're seeing some strange behavior there. That's, to be honest, is something that we think that it would be useful, but we haven't had a strong use. We haven't had proponents saying, hey, you guys really need to support wikis, and this is today within AWIPS, for the National Weather Service. This is specific to the Weather Service, so it's a lower priority issue. Likewise, the NOAA Projects Registry, and that's the testbed stuff, adding the ability to link testbeds. That's pretty specific. The code has been done, it just needs to be tested. And this is an administration thing, but it will impact users. And that is, what I've found is that, we were required to put a virus checking in place, and so that was done, but the way in which it's kicked off is very slow. And so I've come up with a much better approach, so I have to get some of NCEP NCO's time to move that forward. So, and then one of our other developers has been working on cards. That's again, that's a weather service project, and that I don't think we tracked that through the VIT. That was something that came, a requirement that came to us before the VIT. There's a small issue here with the Ideas Marketplace that Mike will be fixing. It'll be rolled out next month. So I think that's it for the moment. So are there any questions for me? Okay, the other news is that we're moving forward with LifeRay DXP. There are licensing costs for that. That's a newer version of LifeRay, which we use for VLCS. And there's some nice new features and capabilities. And our tentative timing on that, I need to get it on the schedule, I thought I actually did. Yeah, I do. It's up here, is at the end of September is our tentative time to get that rolled out. So, okay, thank you.
All right, thanks, Ken. Any questions for Ken? All right, John, looks like you're up. Hello?
So, John, we can't hear you.
Okay, good. At least I've got the myself off mute. Now I'm trying to, there we go. Okay. Not sure what happened there, but I was unable to take control again. But nonetheless, we're up and running again. Okay, thanks, Ken. So the next item on the agenda is to review the status of our efforts to rank ticket 26824. And we're in pretty good shape there. We've got certainly enough to close out our efforts in that area. Let's see, we've got all but one line office and one National Weather Service region yet to weigh in. So I guess we leave it up to the group to decide whether or not we've got enough input to close out this ranking. Any thoughts?
I think yes, based on the quorum.
Okay.
I would agree as well.
Alrighty. So from here then I'll go ahead and take the impact score of 6 and put that into the appropriate tickets, and we'll move forward from there.
Awesome, man.
All right.
Thank you, John. All right. It looks like I'm up. Oh, let's see. Let me see how the best way to convey this. If we could just go to the ideas marketplace, that would.
You want to go to the ideas marketplace itself?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, let's.
Sure. It'll take me a second, but I can do that, no problem. And I got to make it smaller. Okay.
Well, that was cool.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Idea. All righty. So here we go. Ideas marketplace. Can everyone?
All right. The basic crux with the, again, I don't know, do we have a sufficient quorum to put this to a vote for ranking, or?
Technically not, although I will say that we've never really let that stop us in the past, unless it was extremely underrepresented. So we're pretty close.
We get a good, it looks like we have a good cross-section.
Yeah, we do, for sure.
All right, so the idea was brought up to me, that this is a, and I generally agree. I mean, this is I've shared this with Brian. This is the ideas marketplace is really an awesome concept, and we could use this as kind of a gateway drug of sorts to get other people more involved with the VLab. The suggestion was brought up to me that we could, there's really no consistency when throwing up suggestions, or there's no consistency in formatting, because no one wants to sit and read a dissertation. Want a clearly, concisely stated an idea. Sure, the appropriate tags are used that they could be found by other community members. There's also some questions revolving around, how long does the idea sit there? How's the voting? How long are we going to have people voting? That sort of thing. Before it becomes, we transfer the concept into more an idea, from idea to more of a realistic suggestion to be undertaken by VIT. So I think the would be, the concept for this suggestion was to put forth some guidelines of sorts that we could all play by as people interact with the ideas marketplace and make suggestions ultimately to the VLab improvement team. So that's my best sales pitch on one cup of coffee.
So the concept here is use the ideas marketplace as a means to basically brainstorm and get feedback on ideas that are used by the VLab improvement team. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, it would be, you get people involved by throwing out these, the ideas and stuff. And I think the person making the suggestion wanted some way that ground rules. Okay, one paragraph. You don't want someone to make a suggestion or throw out an idea that rambles on, then the next person throws out 2 sentences. You want, to have a little consistency. Basically, I think it's more of a desire to get some guidelines honestly, and some basic ground rules for the ideas marketplace. At least that was the impression when I had a hangout with him. That was my impression walking away. So.
Okay, thank you.
So this is Brian. I've talked with JJ a little bit about this, and being sort of the originator of the ideas marketplace. Is that you, John, who's highlighting it?
Yeah, I just thought I'd show where this new content might show up if we decide it's...
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so being somewhat of the originator of the ideas marketplace is a function for VLab to have. I definitely think some additional guidelines would be useful, and I welcome the VIT discussing and thinking about that. I'm not sure we need to rank a ticket on it as opposed to maybe just going ahead and making that an agenda item to discuss on our next call or something like that. I'm not sure what you think, but I'd be open to just discussing some thoughts about it.
Anyone else have any thoughts? I'm personally fine with that, Brian. I mean, we could better, bat something back and forth and then kick it back.
Yeah, and we could even, I'm just thinking out loud here.
Yeah.
Right now it's called the NWS Ideas Marketplace, but there's no reason why it can't be expanded to be the NOAA Ideas Marketplace, with the idea there that might be able to tag something by line office or do something like that.
Yeah, I mean that's an idea, because you could, someone from OAR could even throw up an idea. I mean, it's
sure.
Anyone could throw up an idea. I mean, the VLab serves all of NOAA, not just weather service.
Yeah, what we did is we put it under NWS because we were thinking that a lot of the ideas were going to be specific to the Weather Service, and so, but the underlying technology and the portlet that was developed, the Ideas Marketplace portlet, it can reside within any community, and so we have a couple different ways of doing it. One is that it is at the top level, so in other words, we could make it just be specific to NOAA, or not specific to NOAA, but generic to all of NOAA, and then intermingle the ideas and then make sure that we're using tags for the line offices within it. Or if the other line offices wanted specific instances of the idea marketplace to use this as a mechanism, then we could shift it there. Or not shift it, we could actually create another instance of the ideas marketplace within those particular communities, and then they would have their own space where only ideas for that. So that's a way of handling it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And so, yeah, Doug, I would suggest that we discuss this on one of our next couple of calls and maybe come with some thoughts for improving or additions to the ideas marketplace. That would be my suggestion.
I'm fine with that. Anyone else have any thoughts? All right, hearing none, let's maybe next meeting or two, sometime in the next month, add that. Can add that to the agenda item and discuss what additions we need to make to clarify the process and purpose and whatnot of the ideas marketplace.
Okay. How do we want to proceed with the candidate issue? Do we want to leave that just where it is now, and as a placeholder for this discussion that we're going to engage in, or do we want to go ahead and reject the issue and then just keep it under the discussions as part of whatever we're going to do at our meetings?
My initial thought, and I'm open for suggestions and stuff, but my initial thought is to keep it open as a placeholder.
Okay.
And then once we next meeting or two, when we discuss the ideas for the changes and stuff, we can reject it and kick it back or whatnot. So, but just keep it open as a placeholder for now.
Perfect. I'll do that, unless there's objections or something.
Well, it looks like I get to keep talking. Let's see. Last meeting we discussed shipping out an email to our speaking from Weather Service perspective to our respective regions, trying to elicit some more assistance from other line offices with talking about trying to get some folks to to help us out with this strategic planning team. I've gotten the draft from Brian, and the goal I think right now is for me, at least my timeline, is to have some feedback to you within the next 24 hours on that draft email. Then maybe we could get something out by early next week. Any thoughts on that?
Sounds good, John. Can you show where? You were already thinking about it.
Yeah.
You read my mind.
Awesome.
Where did you put that, by the way? How did you get to if I were trying to search for this?
If you were trying to search for it, what you would do is go to our wiki. So probably the easiest way to get there is, let's see, yeah, just go to the team meetings, I think. And if you go down to the bottom, way down at the bottom, hold on. I need my... okay, so what I have to do is, hold on just one second. I think if we just go team documents, let me see if that works. Nope. Let me think. How do I get there? I should be able to get there this way. All right. And then, well, let me, just one quick second. I think I'm having a brain freeze on how to do this. I'll go to the front page. Here we go. Okay. So at the very bottom of the front page of the wiki, so we're on the wiki, we've gone to the front page, and then at the very bottom, you'll see that there's a number of wiki pages, and the one that stands out the most is the one that's it's a recruit get a security planning team lead. So if you click on that one, it'll take you right to this. I also provided the link which we can circulate, and that's probably a good way to find it. So
search in theory should work as well. If you search for like team lead, I would hope. So.
See, we'll put it to the test. There you go, right at the top.
Perfect. Yeah, Doug, I'd be fine with feedback and also putting it up to the group if there's any other feedback from anybody on the call or as part of the notes so that we can move forward with it. One of the concerns I had just as writing this up is we don't have a specific amount of work or exact work that this team would be doing. That's a possible issue as we send out an email to recruit. But I do think that if you read the email draft, that we have a strong idea of the strategic planning exercise to look forward, and maybe we want to add just one or two goals of the group. So, but I think it's up for review at this point, and we can either finalize it soon or maybe just finalize it by our next meeting and then send it out with giving 3 or 4 weeks. It's the summer. People are on leave as well, so we may not want to start this until a little later in the summer anyways.
I'm fine with that.
Okay. So action for the next 2 weeks to get feedback on this?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Any other discussions on the planning team lead? Okay. So I guess that brings me next to talk about our efforts to find a person to fill the relatively newly created National Weather Service headquarters position. So just real quickly, we still are looking. That's the bottom line. We, as you may recall, we went out to all the headquarters XOs and requested them to solicit a volunteer, basically. And the results from that was, was a negative reply, essentially. So we decided that, okay, we'll in OSTI undertake the requirement to go find somebody. And that brings us up to the date and the strategy we're employing is rather kind of circuitous. So let me begin with showing you our STI one-stop page. So this is a sort of a management kind of tool. It's used by people within STI to find information relevant to basically day-to-day operations kind of thing. So you can see here's information on training, events within STI. There's news, basically employee resources, all the way down to emergency preparedness. So anyway, this page has received some recognition. People across the National Weather Service within the headquarters are preparing, I believe, to embark on this effort to sort of, basically embrace this thing through all the, basically headquarters functions. So instead of just being a one-stop for STI, there'd be a one-stop for, the services folks and one-stop for the operations folks and so forth. All right, so how does that apply to our efforts to find someone to fill this position? Well, to make this, to manage this transition of the one-stop to use throughout the headquarters, the STI folks are soliciting volunteers, so to speak, to represent their organizations. And so when they come back with the names for these representatives, we are going to then use that to help us find somebody who will sit on the VIT as the headquarters representative. So they have until the 19th of June to identify their representative on this team, this cross-headquarters team. And at that point, we will then have some candidates which we can then approach and hopefully find us a willing volunteer. So that's where we are. Any questions? All right. So hopefully we'll have some good news for you, maybe next meeting, but if not, then the meeting after that.
What would be the end, the thoughts? How quickly could we get this person onboarded into the VIT?
It can happen as soon as the individual consents, really. I mean, it's a matter of me, adding them to our wonderful project and community, and then they're a member, and then they'll just start attending meetings. So it can happen fast, but actually finding the person will take some time. And if that fails, we have a list of individuals that we would consider good candidates, and we may go and just approach them as well. So, but this is what STI decided corporately to how to approach finding a VIT representative. So we're sort of left with that before we can proceed with anything else.
All right, sounds good, John.
All righty. Do we want to go ahead and embark on the action item review?
Let's do it, man.
All right. I think we have a couple minutes here. So here we, oops, come on. There we go. All right, so after struggling to find the open action items, I went through and actually highlighted them, so it should be easier this time. There's one. So way back in November of 15, Ken agreed to come up with a list of VIT members, or I'm sorry, people, VLab users by VIT organization. And so that still remains open. I'm sure Ken is like very close to being able to do this.
Actually, yeah, so we are, that is identified now. So what I mean by that is just 2 nights ago we're running LDAP imports on all NOAA users. So every NOAA user has a VLCS account now. So what that means to like our community owners is you don't have to tell people, hey, go log into VLab before you can add them to your community. So anyway, that's there. And one of the other things we did is the line office is identified, as well as the organizational unit. And then there are, and what do I mean by that? So for example, NWS, line office, or AR, and then if they've identified which most have the organizational unit, it would indicate, oh, well, I'm in Eastern region, or I'm part of STI, or dissemination, or one of the other group, central processing. So within the Weather Service. So, and then we also are capturing the OU1 and OU2, which for like Eastern region, they actually go down to the field office level as well, which is nice. And so I think the gist here of this was that the VIT organization, that's going to be the line office as well as the region within the Weather Service. We should be able to look at the users within VLCS and see that. Now we may need to put something together that allows people to easily identify that. So in other words, pull that information in one place so I can go through on a user-by-user basis and see where they are within VLab. But I think I'll have to go back and look. I think there was a desire to modify like one of the portlets so that you could see that in one type view. Brian, do you recall? I think that's the case.
I think so.
All right, yeah, I'll go back and review it. So.
Okay, so update there. now we'll go down here till we come to a couple others. Let's see. Okay, so these, the first one is related to our strategic planning team. We have on the list, we developed the charter for that organization, and that will likely take place once we've selected a team lead. We have another item that Tammy has on her plate, which is to visit with Eric, see if you can come up with some VIT issues from suggestions that he's raised in the past. If at any time we decide some of these need to be closed out, by all means, certainly let me know. Sometimes they become OBE because of the time that has passed since we initially, created them. Any update for us, Tammy, on this one?
No, nothing new yet.
Okay.
I'll go back and look at the presentation this week.
All right. Wonderful. If you need help with that, let me know. I think I can find a copy for you.
Okay, thanks.
And then we had one from our January meeting where we were asked to, incorporate policy topics in the strategic planning charter. So something else for our new team lead once we find them. And finally, we had the requirement that we discussed today of drafting an email that we could send out looking for a team lead for the strategic planning team, which I think now we can essentially close out. So I'll do that after this meeting. Any
Awesome.
any discussions on our open action items? All right. Open forum.
Anyone have anything to discuss? All right, I'm hearing nothing. All right, John.
All right, so we'll do a quick review of the action items that I've captured. And the first one is, so for the next meeting, I need to add an agenda item to discuss improving the ideas marketplace. And so I will do that. Let's see, we need to add an action item inviting all team members to review our draft email, searching for a strategic planning team lead. And that'll be done in conjunction with the wiki that we have. And let's see. Oh, yes, and we also want to look at possibly adding some goals for this person, for our strategic planning team, so the individual has some sense of what they're going to be getting themselves into. So that's a third action item that I'll add, inviting a discussion of that at our next meeting. Did I miss anything?
That encompasses it from my end. Anyone else have anything? I'm hearing none, John.
Okay, great. So,
And looks like that's the end of everything that we have on our agenda for this meeting. Got 10 minutes of your life that you can reclaim. So we next meeting, it looks like we will get together June 27th at 1 p.m. Eastern. Any last minute things? If you're talking to us, we can't hear you.
it may have been background noise.
Okay. All right. Hearing nothing else, I say we adjourn the meeting for today.
All right. Talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks, guys.